Coming up, more Afghan refugees will soon be settling in North Dakota. Speaking out against illegal immigration, Senator John Hoeven drawing attention to what's happening at the southern border. And on draft day, how North Dakota comes out on top when it comes to fans of the NFL. Hello and welcome to the Nightly Review. I'm Tom Tucker. We begin with a look at tonight's headlines. Then in a closer look, how U.S. Senator John Hoeven is pushing to keep in place a southern border immigration restriction enacted by former President Donald Trump. Then in tonight's one-on-one conversation, a North Dakota business success story. We'll hear from an entrepreneur and author who, with his sons, has big plans to grow his business into a mattress franchise empire. But first tonight, a fire in a Fargo apartment complex has caused thousands of dollars in damage and left one person looking for a new home. Fire crews were called to South 40th Street around 1 o'clock this morning, where they found smoke pouring from the building. The fire was quickly put out, but about $25,000 in damage was left behind. It appears the fire began in the kitchen. The tenant was not injured. West Fargo Public Schools is ending rapid testing for COVID-19. The district announced the move yesterday because of what an official calls the drastic and consistent decline in those using the on-site testing opportunities. The last day rapid testing will be offered is April 29th. Officials say no one was injured when a Sanford Air Med ambulance plane struck a bird after taking off in Fargo. The plane was departing from Hector International Airport yesterday morning when the collision happened. Sanford's Air Med director says the pilot landed the plane safely. The plane sustained minor damage. Fargo City Hall and other buildings in the city are lit up in blue, green, and orange to recognize National Crime Victims' Rights Week. We're told the goal of the week is to confront and remove barriers to achieving justice for crime victims. The theme for the week is rights, access, and equity for all victims. Several North Dakota residents are looking to gather 15,000 signatures to qualify a ballot measure for legalizing marijuana in North Dakota. David Owen, the campaign manager for New Approach North Dakota, has this to say to people who are hesitant to the idea.
The fact that every state that has it keeps it is itself very strong evidence. And it's not like it was back in 2012 where you could say, oh, well, it's just these liberal states.
Owen says their ballot measure, if approved, would allow each person 18 and older to possess an ounce of marijuana. Also, the ability to purchase edibles and tinctures, and the ability to own 3 marijuana plants at home. Well, North Dakota has been given the go-ahead to resettle nearly 100 Afghan refugees. The U.S. State Department gave the okay, and State Refugee Coordinator Holly Triska-Daly informed legislators yesterday. Triska-Daly says 69 refugees will be resettled in Fargo, 15 in Bismarck, and a dozen in the Dickinson area. Currently, more than 50 resettled Afghans live in the FM metro. That power outage in northwestern North Dakota continues for more than 5,700 customers. To cope with cold temperatures, some people are staying in hotels where the power is on, and others are turning to generators. Some residents have traveled as far as Bismarck to find a generator. Managers at the running stores in the capital city and in Dickinson want people to know they have more generators in stock. President Biden is commuting the sentence of a Jamestown woman. Kathy Albrecht was sentenced to 12 and a half years in prison on charges related to drug trafficking. She will still be required to serve a 3-year probation term. The commutation was one of 75 granted by Biden for low-level drug offenders with fewer than 4 years remaining on their sentences and for convicts having displayed efforts to rehabilitate themselves. A St. Paul Starbucks is the first in Minnesota where workers have voted to unionize. Service Employees International Union Affiliate Workers United say employees at the coffee shop on Snelling Avenue near Stanford Avenue voted 14-1 in favor of forming a union. A push to unionize is happening at Starbucks locations throughout Minneapolis and around the country. Well, on draft day, a new survey shows North Dakota ranks at the top of the list when it comes to having fans who are most obsessed with the NFL. The survey from the sports media company Sidelines.io scored states based on internet search activity, Google Trends for the NFL, the draft, and the combine. The state that ranked last in the survey was Alaska. In a closer look tonight, U.S. Senator John Hoeven is continuing to push to keep Title 42 in place when it comes to the southern border. The law was implemented during the Trump administration to deport illegal immigrants on the spot as opposed to holding them in the country through a trial. Hoeven recently traveled to Texas to get a first-hand account of what is happening at the border.
The Rio Grande sector has been the busiest sector. Now remember, 220,000 illegal encounters by Border Patrol just in the last month, in March. Okay, 1.7 million last year, and that doesn't even count the gotaways.
Senator Hoeven says immigrants from more than 100 countries have now been documented as using the U.S.-Mexico border to enter the country illegally. That's up from around 50 countries last year. Hoeven says the immigrants are also changing their tactics.
At the time we were there, the Rio Grande sector was the busiest. Now that's becoming the Del Rio sector because they're migrating over there because they have many fewer Border Patrol officers in the Del Rio sector. So they move where there's the least resistance.
President Biden is calling to drop Title 42 sometime over the coming weeks. However, Senator Hoeven is proposing that the measure instead be extended through February of 2025. Well, I want to take a moment to say thanks and to let you know how much I appreciate you watching the Nightly Review with Tom Tucker. To make sure you don't miss an episode, please be sure to hit subscribe and the bell buttons below. Weather-wise, things are definitely looking up. Let's check in now with Chief Meteorologist Dean Wysocki in the Skywatch Weather Center for a look at the forecast.
Thanks, Tom. We're looking at mostly cloudy skies through the evening and overnight hours. We'll bottom out tonight in the upper 30s with an east wind about 10 to 20. For Friday, we'll start the day off dry, but we'll see rain overspread the area as we head into the afternoon. Highs in the upper 40s, and then rain continues Friday night, Saturday, all the way into Sunday morning. Highs on Saturday in the upper 40s, cooling off on Sunday into the low 40s with a stiff northwest wind. Not the best way to start off the month of May.
It could happen to you or someone you love. One moment, one diagnosis can change everything. Thankfully, there's a program that helps caring people uplift families through a crisis. Lend a Hand Up, raising financial help and hope through community benefits and online campaigns. A program that boosts generosity so gifts go further. Lend a Hand Up helps you help your neighbors. Learn more and give at lendahandup.org.
Welcome back to the Nightly Review. In tonight's one-on-one conversation, my guest is an entrepreneur and author from Harvey, North Dakota, who along with his twin sons is looking to grow a global mattress empire. Rod Marchand is president and CEO of the Marchand Retail Group. They're opening a brand new retail store in Fargo. That's Accord Custom Sleep Systems. And they're moving their corporate headquarters to the city. They also operate a subsidiary in India. I first asked Marchand for an overview of how his family business started and how they got to where they are today.
Well, our company was established in 1980 by my father and mother, so I'm the second generation ownership group. We bought the company, my wife and I, back in 99, but when we began, we were just a small electronics retailer, and over the years we've been in multiple industries, but currently we do have a 20,000 square foot retail location in Harvey, North Dakota, where we sell furniture, floor covering, appliances with all the services. And as the business evolved and grew in trade area, we wanted to get involved in the e-commerce platforms. So early, about probably 5 years ago, we began to sell Ashley products on Amazon. And the bed in the box industry, if you're not familiar with it, some of the bigger brands would be Casper, Lisa, really started to blow up and escalate. And we could tell the consumer really liked this delivery method and this kind of business model. But what we found was the products were very poor quality, most of them imported, very, again, just bad construction overall. So it kind of dawned on me that I wanted to be in this industry and continue to remain on the e-commerce platform, but I decided that I wanted to build my own mattresses.
What is it like for you running a corporation in North Dakota nowadays?
I think what's really unique about it, I failed to mention, I've also traveled to India and we've got a company established there, and we're also going to launch our brand internationally. And that's another story altogether, but I think what's happened is just, again, with not just the internet, but the commerce connections you have via the web, the world's just such a small place now. So I think you can do anything from anywhere. And that's what's crazy. Yeah, Harvey, North Dakota, very small community. You wouldn't think that a mattress company would get its spark out of that size of a community, but we did. And we are happy and excited to announce now the mattress company headquarters will be in Fargo. We thought that was the most logical and appropriate step, because our business model concept is to franchise this now. So we want this to be kind of the flagship store and corporate headquarters, and we'll start growing the franchises nationally. So we felt Fargo was the right place to be.
What has it been like as a business owner getting through the pandemic over the past couple of years?
It's all about shifting and pivoting, like all of life. Life happens, and you can't control so many different things in it. It has been a struggle. Again, we were trying to get growing internationally. Travel was restricted. E-commerce really got shut down for us because during the pandemic, mattresses became deemed non-essential. So they were not. Amazon was not allowing them to ship in their Prime guarantees. And matter of fact, since our product is heavy, it's a 2-man lift, and so our boxes are only 40 inches long, so therefore they couldn't be 6 feet apart, and so they would strand some of our inventory. So again, business is that way. You just got to continue to grow, evolve, and when you run into a pitfall or a brick wall, even, you just got to shift, pivot, get around, and move on, right?
So what advice or recommendations would you have for an aspiring entrepreneur or maybe a young person looking to pursue their own business dreams?
I think pursue it. Study, learn as much as you can, and it's not easy. It's also what my book is about. It's about I can't reveal the title. It looks vulgar, but it's not. But it's called the honest journey of entrepreneurship. And so there's going to be challenges. Don't expect that there won't be. If the cliche applies, if it was easy, everybody would do it. But I think the reward much outweighs the risk if you do things right, you're thorough, and you work hard. So I would encourage everybody to pursue their dreams.
And I'd like to thank Rod Marchand for joining me for tonight's one-on-one conversation. To learn more about Marchand, his thoughts on entrepreneurship, and to find out information about his book, you can check out his website at rodmarchand.com. Well, that will do it for this Thursday night, April 28th, 2022. I'm Tom Tucker. Thanks for watching the Nightly Review.